Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and begin. My name is Tyler Metcalf, and I'm the president of the Student Government Association here at Dodge City Community College.
And I'm Roland Carballo, the vice president here of the SGA.
Welcome to the Board of Trustees Candidate Forum. We are very pleased to be providing to you, the students and voters, a forum where you can hear from your candidates on the issues that are most important to you. Before we introduce Marge Arlowski, our moderator this evening, we would like to take this opportunity to thank a few people. First, we would like to thank the students who are in attendance and provided questions for this forum. Without you, we wouldn't be having a forum at all. Secondly, we would like to thank all of our faculty and staff for providing questions and promoting this event. Next, we would like to thank all of the candidates for taking time out of their busy schedules to be with us this evening.
We want to personally thank Marge Arlowski for moderating tonight's forum. And lastly, thanks to all of you for coming out tonight to make this event successful through your participation. Please hold your applause until the end, and please turn off all your cell phones. We would like to introduce our moderator, Marge Arlowski. Originally from Montana, Marge has lived in Dodge City for over 20 years and is married to Paul Arlowski. Marge completed her bachelor's in public administration at Montana State University and her master's in management at Friends University. Marge has been a professor of communications here at DC3 for 10 years, where she has taught public speaking, interpersonal communication, and is creating a leadership program for Dodge City Community College.
Thank you, guys. I just wanted to point out real quick that these guys are the reason we're here. These students I've had the privilege of teaching, they're amazing. I have other students in the audience, and they're the reason why we're gathered here. So I hope we all take that to heart and appreciate the contribution they make to our community. So to get started tonight, I want to kind of go through the way the format is going to work. Upon arrival, candidates were asked to choose a number, and that choice of number determined order of speaking. So while y'all know I'm bossy, this is not how I organize them. They drew their numbers. We have the students, Student Government Association solicited questions from faculty and staff and students. So we have 5 questions from community college faculty and staff and 3 questions from students. You were handed cards as you walked in. We have volunteers in the aisles who will pick up those cards if they have not already. And as time allows, we will try and field a couple questions from the audience. The opening remarks are going to be given 3 minutes each. Each question will have 90 seconds, and then we will have each candidate do closing remarks of 1 minute. The gentleman on my right will provide timing guidance for each candidate and being given that direction. This is not a debate, so there will not be any rebuttals. So we'll just be answering questions and going down the row. So to get started, I would like to open with Terry Malone for his opening comments for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for all of you being here tonight. I am Terry Malone, and I have lived in Dodge City since 1975. And am married to the former Gretchen Ripple. The Ripple family has lived in Ford County since the 1870s. Gretchen and I have 3 adult children, and all have attended Dodge City Community College. I am very familiar with the duties and responsibilities of a trustee, having served on the board previously for 16 years. It is a tremendous honor to have served as a trustee, and I'm asking you to give me another opportunity to represent you and to work to make DC3 the best it can be. I decided to become a candidate because the continued existence of DC3 was placed in real jeopardy by the votes of 3 trustees who would dissolve our college by handing it over to Fort Hays, along with your tax dollars. This is not a debt issue, and they intend to raise it again. If the 3 trustees and those who back them are successful in accomplishing the takeover of our college by Fort Hays, this is what would happen. Our community college, which has served us well over the last 80 years, would cease to exist. Ford County would be left with no community college after having invested $165 million. Secondly, Fort Hays would take control over the buildings, our administration, faculty, and staff. Fort Hays would decide who was hired, and Fort Hays would decide what courses were taught and which programs would be eliminated. And they also would have control of our tax money. Our Board of Trustees would be reduced to an advisory board with only one statutory power, the power to levy taxes on you, which then would be shipped to Fort Hays, and they would decide how to spend your tax money, not you. And what did Fort Hays offer the people of Fort County in return for their taking our college? The answer is nothing. Under their proposal, Fort Hays was not required to, or nor did they intend to provide face-to-face instruction for any type of four-year degree program in Dodge City. Many people want to believe that Fort Hays was actually going to provide another St. Mary's in Dodge City, and we all know it takes a lot of money to develop and operate a four-year college. But at the town meeting held in Dodge City on August the 12th, President Myrta Martin of Fort Hays revealed the true intentions of Fort Hays in this takeover attempt when she answered questions from me regarding the amount of money that would be budgeted by Fort Hays for these programs. She said no money was or would be budgeted by Fort Hays State University to operate and provide upper-level courses in Dodge City. There is a better plan, a much better plan. Keep Dodge City and independently owned by the people of Ford County and work in partnership with the other state universities. Thank you.
My name is Bill Hammond. The reason I'm running for the Board of Trustees is that I love community colleges. I've worked in two of them, Garden City Community College and Highland Community College, both in a financial position and operation positions. And I love the mission of the community colleges, because the community college doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, famous, or just an ordinary person. They are there to serve the public. They're there to serve people really from cradle to grave. A comprehensive community college serves all the people in its whole constituency. I believe that's what we need to keep in Dodge City. I have experience currently as the Executive Director of Business and Finance for USD 443, run about an $80 million budget a year. I'm over food service that serves well over 1 million meals a year. I run I'm over the transportation department. We have 4 different transportation programs at the USD. I'm used to doing buildings, bonds, finance. I understand the books, and we do a payroll on a monthly basis for about 1,200 people. So I've got the background to handle that. And I also have an understanding of community colleges, the financing, and the continued promises by the state of Kansas through various administrations that they don't keep in helping fund the community colleges. I understand those things. I've been involved in the community since I've been here in Dodge City. I was president of the Rotary Club. While I was president, we started work toward bringing a dental clinic in to help serve some of the underserved people in Dodge City. That is ongoing. It's working. I was a member of the First United Methodist Church of Dodge City, and I'm also a member of the board of the United Methodist Mexican American Ministries, a federally qualified health center that provides health services here in Dodge City. I just want to ask the people, I think there's one issue in this election that really divides the candidates, and that is the issue, would you or would you not dissolve Dodge City Community College? That is the issue that is before us in this election. Some people may try to skirt that issue. I will not. I am not in favor of dissolving the community college because there are many ways and options to get 4-year graduate degrees available in this community, additional tech degrees in operations without dissolving the college, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. So in final, I guess I'd say I love the community college, I believe in it, and I think that's where we need to be. Thank you. Get that one right. Okay.
My name is Gene Dole. I've been a resident in Fort County for 13 years. I was raised on a small farm in Herman, Maine, and then did my K-12 in Caldwell, Idaho, a small community, about 4,000 people. I went to school in Cleveland, Ohio, and earned an undergraduate degree and a master's degree in business, finance, and marketing. I started my career first in academics. I did academic research, medical research. I did anthropology research. I published in both areas, and then in my master's degree, I published from research that I did there. I also taught undergraduate and graduate courses and made presentations on a national level in various subjects. So the academic environment is not one foreign to me. My career in healthcare started at the Cleveland Clinic. It's a $500 million company at the time. Now it's about a $4 billion company. I managed the orthopedics and sports medicine department, which was the second most productive department there, 16 budgets and well over $30 million. I've been in group practice for 38 years, came here because it was similar to where I grew up, and I was trying to get close to my parents. They were still in Idaho at the time. While in Dodge, I served in the Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, worked many long hours in Dodge City Days and the 3I Show. I helped set up the corporation for Meadowlark House, which separated from the Crisis Center a couple of months ago. And I'm interested in running for the trustee position at the college because it's an important institution. It's an institution that's a combination of both the community and the college. And I think that I bring a sense of working together and building teams, one that I had to do in multiple environments with multiple large egos for a long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Florestine Hampton, retired farmer, rancher, and registered nurse. My husband is also a registered nurse, and we have an interesting story. We went to nursing school after we had 5 little children. So I believe that we can say that we believe in continuing education. I live in northwest Ford County, where my great-grandparents were pioneer homesteaders dating back to 1882. My husband Marvin and I live on Eagle Bluff Ranch. We raised 5 children, and all 7 of us, some grandchildren too, have hours or degrees from Dodge City Community College. I've been a trustee for 24 years, served as state president of the Kansas Association of Community College Trustees, was appointed by Governor Graves to the Kansas Board of Regents when the legislature moved community colleges from the Board of Education to the Board of Regents. I've worked with many local and state organizations and presently serving on the Community Foundation of Southwest Kansas, including the Women's Chamber and a lot of hours with the Chamber of Commerce in Dodge City. I've worked with many local and state organizations, spent my whole life working for the things in Dodge City, Ford County, and the state of Kansas that I believed were positive and uplifting. I plan to continue doing that. I'm running because I believe my years of experience and my dedication will continue to be assets to this Board of Trustees. I deeply value the trust that is bestowed upon a trustee to defend and care for that to which you have been entrusted.
I'm Jeremy Presley. I grew up here in Dodge City. I was born in '77, and my parents moved me here shortly thereafter in '78. I've been a member of this community for all of that time except for the times where I had to leave and go away to school. I did start my education out here after graduating Dodge City High School, and during my time at Dodge City High School I took classes at this community college and used to sit up there in the light booth even and help out with some of the senior productions doing some things at that time. I went on to Baker University and received my Bachelor of Science degree from there in biology, minor in PE, and athletic training. I went on from there to graduated and went on to Johnson County Community College, where I received my emergency medical technician certificate and also took some business classes with the aspirations in my current profession. From that point, I went on to KU Med, completed my book years, as we call them, in the first 2 years at KU in Kansas City, and then went down to Wichita for the remainder of my time to get closer to home. I've always been dedicated to coming back to this community, and that's why I completed my residency training in Wichita, to get a broad and extensive training so that I could come back and serve rural Kansas, and most importantly, serve my home. Came back to Dodge City in 2010, and have been back since that time, practicing here at Family Practice Associates. I became a member of the Board of Trustees about a year and a half ago as an applicant into fulfilling the remainder of a term for Mr. Bangeter as he left and went to the Board of Regents. Since that time, I've been involved through a lot of these discussions and a lot of the things that are being brought forward tonight. I really hope to move on and work forward, and I think that's my real goal here. I would encourage everyone to be open-minded and remember that the words that come out of my mouth is really what is important. Please don't listen to the ones that may be placed in my mouth. My votes have been very consistent and have also been supportive of exploration of broader research and broader training and broader educational opportunities for our community. I have never, and I will say this clearly here so that there's no question, I never voted to dissolve, as none of the board members did through this process. I do not support giving our college away to anyone, and I would like us to move forward because I think the one unifying goal here, and this is what we had talked about numerous times, is that we are all for better educating our youth. We wish to come together, and everyone in this room is here because they care about the students, whether it's the students themselves or the people that are here that have paid the taxes, that have been here to support it. We need to come together and we need to work forward going for that, and I am the person that's going to help do that. I ask for your vote in the upcoming election.
I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Danny Thomas, and I too was born and raised in Dodge City, Kansas. I'm a graduate of Dodge City Community College, where I played football and baseball. I then attended St. Mary's of the Plains College, where I continued my athletic career and double majored in applied mathematics and business administration with an emphasis in accounting. My wife of 25 years is Mary. We have a son, Ty, and a daughter, Hannah, who are both in college. I am a financial advisor and a partner in the accounting and financial planning firm of Deck & Unruh and Thomas. I am currently on the Dodge City Athletics Board, and in the past have been president of the Dodge City Chamber in 2005. I have also been on the Dodge City United Way Board and the Finance Council for Our Lady of Guadalupe Cathedral. Now I want to talk about the Board of Trustees. First, I want to apologize as I am not going to be able to be at the forum Wednesday here in Dodge City or Thursday in Buckland because of family conflicts. But I will try and be at the one in Spearville next Tuesday. Now this is where I stand. First of all, I have great respect for every candidate here, but I do have different opinions. When elected, I am a 1 or 2 term at best. I just believe after serving for a period of time, change is good. 2, I will be transparent and work for the students, faculty, and residents of the county. I believe Dodge City Community College has a strong faculty and staff. However, when I answered some of the questions given to me for this forum tonight and did the research, I had some red flags raised about how the leadership handles things at Dodge City Community College. I want to change the culture of leadership. It needs to be transparent and here to serve. Finally, I am for change and continuation to develop this great institution. If you're looking for the status quo, I am not your candidate. As I have said, I will look at any proposal that brings higher education to our community that includes the Kansas Board of Regents, as long as it does not harm what we already have and produces more benefits. I have seen 2 proposals for 4-year technical education at Dodge City Community College in these forums. One was a proposal from Fort Hays with backing from the Kansas Board of Regents, and the other was a partnership with an institution of higher education. I asked a board member of the Kansas Board of Regents about both of these and was told one is a starting point and the other one has no backing of the board and at this point is a non-starter. There is a difference here. I'm willing to look at any change that benefits our college students, faculty, and Ford County residents. Through research I have done for tonight's forum, the fact that past leadership on Board of Trustees refused to vote to move forward and look at the proposal, it has left division and confusion in our community. There were mistakes made on both sides, and I hope we can learn from these mistakes of the past and move forward together as a community to see the great opportunities, and we'll share with you tonight
Okay, we need to move on to our next set of questions. So we will move down the table to start. So the first person to answer this question will be Bill Hammond. So this is the first round of questions that were drawn from faculty and staff at the college. You guys can hear me okay, right? Okay. Got a little bit of a frog. So, if elected, what are any goals or priorities you have to enhance student life on campus? And you'll have 90 seconds, each candidate, to answer. Mr. Hammond.
First, all the goals and priorities to enhance student life should be reached in cooperation and collaboration with the students. As a residential campus, there is a need for student activity area. I have a record first at Highland Community College of remodeling student activity space, of building better housing opportunities for students. And while at Highland, I also had the vision when I started purchasing land on behalf of the campus of adjoining property because they were landlocked. And today, in some of the land that I helped purchase when I was there as the finance officer, there is a beautiful and fantastic student fitness center because of vision and thinking to the future. At Garden City Community College, I'd be happy to go through the student union, which they've been trying for 25 or 30 years to expand. We made it happen while I was there. It includes a larger activity area, includes a bookstore, includes a student health center, includes SGA offices, includes a snack bar, includes computer labs and gallery space where we had art exhibits by our students who are art majors. But the important thing, if you're going to do student activity things, is get a plan, but start with students. Start with what the students feel that they need, and then take that, and then get it done. I believe I can make that happen.
Mr. Dole.
Bill, I absolutely agree with you. The first thing that we need to do is to ask the students. We need to go to the students and find what are their interests, what are their needs. The mission of the college is to serve the needs of the students and the community, and without their input and without dialogue with them, we can't do that. We may think we know what's going on, but unless we're willing to sit with them in formal and informal situations, we don't know what's going on. I think that as a board member, I would go out, spend time where the students are, talking to them formally and informally, trying to find out what things are important to them now, and then discuss that with the other board members, with looking at what's going on in other schools, and then dialoguing with the students again on what ideas we come up with. Try to make a comprehensive plan, not just piecemeal any kind of solution. And also look at the satisfaction surveys that are conducted every so often with the students. Look at what we are not doing. Look at what the students are needing when they are being surveyed and paying attention to that. Not just having it survey done and then let it sit by the side. I think also we need to listen and talk to the faculty, because many of the faculty also have good ideas. And by including the faculty, the staff, and the students, we can then approach it with what we need, not with what somebody else thinks we need.
Mrs. Hampton.
Well, my immediate goal right now, is to build you an activity center. We've been waiting a long time for that, and I've been concerned for a long time that we don't have places for students to gather, a place for intramurals, for volleyball games where there is room for a cheering section, for practice times for conference games, for intercollegiate forums with other community colleges, or just to hang out, and for whatever uses you will find. We have just spent $23 million on new dorms, remodeling the student union, and have many more exciting plans waiting for you. I want to help build programs that will help you find a place in the working world. That is why we're here. That is what our mission is. Also, I'd like to hear from you in board meetings, but that is another question and will be addressed shortly.
Dr. Presley.
enhancing student life is very important because that is why we're all here. That's why we all are so caring and so concerned about this community and community college. I'm glad to see the students that are here tonight, and I wish there was more. I know we have better enrollment than this, so I want to see more participation, and I think that comes with developing the community, and that's reaching out not only to the students, but the community reaching back to those. I agree with Flores Jean. I think the addition of the activity center is going to be a huge boon for us, and I hope that brings a lot of the community together. I hope that we can start centering and focusing more around our athletics and bringing that to the forefront, because I think that really helps build the community feeling within the college. But I also think enhancing the student life on the campus is enhancing the opportunities on the campus, and I think some of those things we need to reach out. These are issues that have been brought up in the surveys that I have seen, and I hope that we can better address those. These are issues such as offering increased course availability, timing, and not just the types of courses, but the timing of the courses. We have a lot of students that are not here all of the time, but would have the ability in the afternoons possibly to take a class, possibly at different times of the day, and we need to reach out and increase those opportunities for them, I think. We also need to increase the culture of safety on the campus. I think an ever-growing thing as we all read the scary stories in the news every day. We have to assure our students are safe. We have to provide that environment for them, and we have to be able to listen to them when they respond back to us that they're not feeling that way, so that we can go forward and provide that for them. It's a necessity as we look forward. I have young children, and I look for them to go to the school one day.
Mr. Thomas?
This is really why I'm here. I'm at a very fortunate time of my life. My son's finishing his last year, and he plays baseball, so I'm at a college somewhere in the Midwest every weekend with college kids. It just gives you a whole sense of life, like you're 20 again, to listen to it. And my goal to enhance student life on campus is to listen to the students. I want to hear what you want, not what I want for you. I will push to bring Student Government Association to the table on the agenda of every Board of Trustees meeting. Like Florence Jean said, that's a question coming up. If the students think that a campus swimming pool, outdoor basketball courts, sand volleyball courts are important to the quality of life of campus, I will take the time to listen and see how we can make it work. The one thing I want to enhance student life on campus is to make sure we are always budgeted to keep our classrooms on the cutting edge of technology. I believe this is one of the most important things we can give them to prepare them for the competitive world ahead. And finally, students, my work address is 2210 First Avenue, and my work phone number is 227-6792. I am open to your opinions anytime, as I will be working for you when I'm on the board. Stop by, call, I will make time for you.
Mr. Malone?
I certainly echo the comments about we have to find out from the students what they want to enhance their quality of life on campus. And I think that after we do that, then we need to ask the students to prioritize exactly what they would like to see done first, and then the board needs to fund it. And I would suggest that we have more than enough funds to do just about anything that the students would like to do. They pay over $1 million in student fees and each year, and very little of it actually goes toward their activities and things for them to do. So I would encourage the board to make sure that each year that adequate funding is set aside out of their fees to enable them to have a enhanced quality of life as students here at Dodge City. The happier and more satisfied students are, the better students they'll be, and I think they'll recommend Dodge City Community College to their friends. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Dole, this question's coming to you first. Dodge City Community College is the second most affordable community college in the state of Kansas when comparing tuition and fee rates. In the previous forum, many of you stated that you would not want to raise the mill levy. How do you plan to have DCCC continue to be financially available to students?
Trustees of the college have two fiduciary responsibilities. First, to the community, and then to the college. To the community, their responsibility is to keep the levy at a low rate, try not to increase it. To the college, to make it viable financially. A number of years ago, I was in a group practice, and over 5 years, we had a reduction of 46% with the amount of money per unit worked that we received. That reduction we had no control over. How did we deal with it? We became more internally efficient. We made our teams understand what the problems were, and we worked as a team. The ideas for the solutions came from the trenches. This community college is a combination of the community and the college, and they both need to work together. That way we can keep things at the level that they are now in a way that's productive for everybody. One of the ways is in the last 2 years, have not paid the state of Kansas directly taxes. I've invested them in the community through bonds. Roger Profit is doing that for the new facility. And that's the way we can do things, keep the money here, but we have to be creative and work together to find these new ways.
Mrs. Hampton.
Community colleges are known to be affordable, and yes, Dodge City Community College was noted recently as the second most affordable in the state, the fourth in the United States. That happens only if the resources are managed well, and I'm telling you ours are. Our new activity center is being built with bonds rated A+, far better than the state of Kansas. The mill levy, plus tuition, bookstore, dorm fees, food, and other things all support the operation, and it's just extra when there are grants or gifts for projects that let us grow without adding to the mill levy from the taxpayers. County valuations vary from year to year, but good planning prepares for those fluctuations, even though sometimes it can't be avoided. Last year, we lowered the mill levy by 0.1%.
Dr. Presley.
Continuing to be financially available to students is the crucial key. We as the board just passed a reduction for our Ford County students to continue to make it more affordable, which is our key demographic. We are here to provide education for the regional area and then some for outside of the state as well, as we do have a lot of out-of-state students. But our primary focus is those who lived here, who have been born here, and who have been raised here, and that we want to come back here. And we need to provide that education, that stepping stone for them to go forward so that they will come back, not only to be participants in this college, but to give back to this college in all different ways, not just financially. We need to stay financially solvent. It's one of the most difficult parts of being a Board of Trustee member is maintaining the facilities and the things that we have out here and providing the staff the resources they need and the incomes they need to stay competitive, but maintaining that responsibility to our taxpayers who are funding the projects. We have some outside resources and some developments and expansions of things. The aeronautics program is bringing in additional money, but I think one of the areas that we really need to focus on to increase the student, we can't have a college if we don't have the buildings, and we have a lot of deferred maintenance, and I hope that we can start implementing some of these ancillary and auxiliary incomes that we have, dedicating and pushing that towards those situations so that we can better meet those needs, and that we're not building brand new buildings here in a few years, that we can keep updating the ones we have and working for providing an increased enrollment.
Mr. Thomas.
First of all, this was an excellent question by the staff. In order to answer it, I took a large historical tax levy and property valuation data from 1993 to 2013. We are very lucky to live in a community that is thriving and growing. In those 20 years, our assessed valuations have went up 100%, an average of 5% per year. That has allowed them in the last 20 years to only raise the mill levy from 26.01 to 32.31 among our 4 entities it goes to. So if you want to know how we're going to keep funding our students and keep it affordable, there's all sorts of fees and things like that. But the big thing is we live in a very prosperous community where the taxes are growing at about a 5.33% rate. And over 100 years of statistics, inflation in the United States, according to the United States Department of Labor, is only 3.34%. So we were funding on the tax side almost 2 times what the inflation rate is. So we are going to take care of our students. This community has shown they will do that. We also, though, need to look at other ways to decrease the tax burden, which I do believe that the board has done a very good job of. But the reason we haven't had to raise the mill levy and won't have to raise the mill levy isn't any magic. It's the fact that we live in a community that has grown tremendously in the last 20 years.
Mr. Malone.
I believe that the trustees and the college administration, certainly through the guidance of Veda Herman, have done an excellent job in making Dodge City Community College affordable. Obviously, if we're the fourth most affordable community college in the nation and the second most affordable in the state, that the trustees that have been serving in administration, that have been serving the public, have done a good job. And that's doing a good job, and when it's the state of Kansas is not providing the type of funds that they should be. They're not providing adequate funds. We lost, or all community colleges in the state of Kansas in 1999 through Senate Bill 345, lost the out-county tuition, so no longer do the residents in the 87 counties that don't have community colleges have to pay any tuition from their counties when their residents come here, or to come to any community college. That was a big blow to community colleges, and it cost us millions of dollars since 1999. But in view of that, and in spite of that, this college especially has saw a way to keep the mill levy down. Thank you. Sorry.
Mr. Hammond.
Danny, we may never agree on anything else, but I want it noted, I have it written down, this is an excellent question. So I just want you to know, tonight there's something at least 2 people at this panel agree with. And it is a good question, because it's a tough question. I served at 2 community college, Highland Community College, which had the lowest assessed valuation of any of the 19 community colleges. And we were under pressure every year trying to provide the services we needed to for students, and also trying to hold the mill levy down. We did it. I was at Garden City Community College for 7 years. Again, pressure to provide the kind of programming we needed for our students and holding the mill levy down, and we did it. And it's done not by good management, it's done by excellent management. It means you look consistently at the programs you're doing. You look for ways to develop programs like the Light program here at Dodge City Community College, which not only helps students, veterans, but also generate cash for the college. We've been told this program may generate $1 million next year. You also look at ways to continue to contain cost. You look for ways to make your buildings more energy efficient. You look at ways to handle purchasing to save dollars for the college. And you continue to evaluate every year what are real needs versus wants. And you've got to meet the real needs to meet the student needs. And the final thing, as a trustee, I will fight like the dickens at the state of Kansas, because community colleges have a statewide mission and they're not being funded that way, and that needs to change.
Okay, so we are on to question 3, and we're going to start with Mrs. Hampton. How do you feel about Student Government Association having more of a say with the Board of Trustees?
Students are why we're here. Everybody else is here because of you. So it seems logical that we should hear what is concerning to you. I welcome those interactions, and we haven't had enough of them. Actually, it seems the Student Government group has not been very active the last few years, but I know you've done some nice things, like hosting community children on campus and a blood drive. and I would like to hear a monthly report in board meetings, including suggestions or comments that you would make to us.
I agree with Ms. Hampton. I think a necessary and blocked out time during our board meetings every month is imperative for the students to be able to come and fill, and not just the SGA, although that's their speaking body, but I would feel comfortable with any student. It is the reason we're here. It's the reason that I would stay after any board meeting. I'd stay after this meeting. I'll stay after any time if a student wants to talk. Being available is crucial. I think it needs to be a focus of our new administration. We're going through a change soon, and we will be with the retirement of Dr. Woodburn, and I think it should be one of our leading goals for the applicants that we interview. We need to provide them the information, and then we need to get that information back. We do some surveys, but I don't know that we always implement and utilize those in the best way possible, and I want to see us better implement that. And if it takes making a task force with the students through the Student Government Association or through an independent student group put together, but we need feedback and we need to know. These questions were phenomenal because I finally got to hear some actual questions directly from the students as far as this is what they were really concerned about. In my year and a half on the board, I hadn't heard a lot of those, and so it's great to hear that and great to see it, and I hope we can open those opportunities up as we go forward.
Well, Bill, I have a feeling this is another question we're all going to agree on. As I stated in the first question asked tonight, I definitely want as much interaction with the students as possible. That's what this whole place is about. I too would block out time on every trustee meeting to hear from the students. And the good thing is I do want to hear from the student government, because then you have to do a job. It's your job to go out amongst your peers and find out what's important to them. You need to go out and find out what they're thinking. This creates interaction. This creates what this country's about. So this is not only good for us, and this is the way it should be, it's good for the students too. There's not much else to say about this, but I would like to continue with the tax question just a little bit because I just have a few seconds left. At some point, we do have to think about how we're going to give back to the people that support this place, and that's the taxpayers. We just got out of a great recession that was caused by valuations of property going up without controlled spending. At some point, as Bill perfectly put, valuations will not continue to go up. So we have to make sure we're prepared for that, or that's when you find out when the baby goes out at the dishwater who's got their swimsuit on or not.
I would welcome the Student Government Association having a greater participation at the board meetings. In my 16 years, it was kind of up and down. We had some great participation when Joe White and Liz Rogers were heading up the Student Government Association. I think the students' input is absolutely vital, as they are our customers, and we should be providing what our customers want. I would be in favor of certainly a student liaison to the board that would have an advisory role on the board. The law doesn't permit a student to become an actual voting member, but I think we would learn a lot if we had steady involvement from the Student Government Association and through other associations. I think it'd be wise for the board to meet with all the students and perhaps a relaxed atmosphere to learn more about what activities they are involved in and what we can do for them. Thank you.
Marge, would you repeat the question?
Absolutely. How do you feel about the Student Government Association having more of a say with the Board of Trustees?
Thank you. I think the Board of Trustees needs input from a variety of constituencies. I think that includes faculty, staff, community, businesses, other educational institutions, counselors across our service area in high schools, because they have a lot of information for us. But of course, the most important is the relationship with our students, because students is the focus of a community college. Without our students, we don't exist. there is no mission. There is nothing really for us to do. I believe if the college is serious about wanting student participation and involvement with the board and other organizations within the campus, that we need as a college to pay to send some of our student leaders to both state and national conferences where they can receive training so they can fully represent all of the students on campus and be effective leaders on our campus. There should be at least a report to the board on a monthly basis from the student government, the same way that the Faculty Association makes a report. But I believe we need to get involved and have training so we can really have effective student leadership on our campus. Thank you.
Upon hearing this question, my immediate response is, well, why aren't they now? I think the question being posed demonstrates that students have not been adequately recognized in the past and have not been adequately seeked out, or you look for them, find them. I think the other part of the issue is that not only do they need to be present on the board, I think the board needs to be present in the school. The board members need to go out and actually be involved so that they see what's going on. They need to not let people come to them and expect that to be the only source of information. A member on the board needs to actively stick their neck out and do things that they may find uncomfortable. You're going in with a whole bunch of kids that are, a lot younger than you, but listening to them and also recognizing that they may have ideas that you don't really expect to hear. And then integrate them, ferret them out, and interact with them about the issues that are going on at the college. Make sure that they have an idea of what the information is. With data, with information, they're going to come up with a lot more solutions. I think it needs to be more active on the board's part and not just wait for the students.
Okay, we are now on to question 4. Dr. Presley, this will come to you first. How do you plan on protecting the interests of Dodge City Community College students and employees in the face of merger possibilities?
First, I want to make the first point. As a current board member, there is no current merger possibility. There is nothing on the table and no proposals or request for proposals. If we're one to arise and we were to be asked for a request for proposal, I think the key is our mission. You can find everything that I'm going to say on the front page of our website when it talks about the mission of this college, and then we need to keep that in mind. The mission of this college is to provide opportunities for high quality learning and will enhance community and personal development in a student-centered environment. That's the reason we have mission statements, and that's the reason we need to focus on that one. I think one of the other points from that same page comes down to collaboration, which I really feel is the key. Any type of partnership, merger, integration of any new system needs to come with collaboration. And as it again says, the college will meet the needs of industry in our community and work with all organizations interested in supporting educational opportunities, and will promote, and this is the key word here, teamwork in decision-making processes. We've learned a lot through the process in the last year. A lot of lessons have been learned, and a lot of steps can be taken to do it better the next time if that opportunity arises. The key is teamwork and collaboration. We need to work. Again, I said before, we all have the same interest in mind. We all want to provide more for those around us and more for the community that we love and breathe in. I want to work for that, and I assure that I will continue to strive to protect the interests of the students and the faculty and the staff, as they're my patients, my family, the people I live with in this community.
I was just out where you guys were the last time this merger came up, and it was a pretty heated discussion. But since I've made the decision to run for the trustees, I've seen 2 proposals at these forums: the operational and expanded partnership agreement and a proposal agreement from Fort Hays State University. And they both have one big thing in common. They both failed to be passed by the last Board of Trustees. I can only go off of what I've read of these 2 proposals, and in both of them, there was nothing that threatens the interests of Dodge City Community College students or employees, in my opinion. As I have said multiple times, yes, I would vote to continue going forward looking at any proposals to further four-year education and technical education in Ford County that includes the Kansas Board of Regents, but not at the expense of Dodge City Community College or Ford County residents. I am a graduate of this institution. If the proposal is not beneficial or would do damage to Dodge City Community College or Ford County, I would not go forward. Further, I have checked with Dodge City Community College legal counsel on a county vote if a good merger or partnership agreement was ever reached between the Board of Trustees and the Board of Regents on any four-year institution of higher education. The opinion is that the county has the authority to allow a non-binding vote on the merger agreement. And even though it is non-binding, I would be for it to make sure it's what the people of Ford County want.
Mr. Malone.
The simple answer to that question is to never, ever again consider a merger possibility that would contain a condition from Fort Hays for one or any other state university that this institution had to be dissolved, and that was the proposed merger that was brought to this college by Fort Hays. It was non-negotiable, so any movement forward on their proposal would have taken that to the Kansas Board of Regents, with that being the focal point that Dodge City Community College had to be dissolved per the legal staff of KBOR. They asked for a legal opinion, and that's what they said. So the merger will be alive if you if you elect the wrong trustees, because if you remember Mr. Banger, who is on the Board of Regents, when he spoke on June the 24th, he said, we've got to kill the elephant in the room. And that elephant in the room was Dodge City Community College. It had to be killed in order for there to be one institution, just like Fort Hays wanted it.
Do you want me to read the question?
Oh, no,
Sorry.
I was just waiting for you to say Mr. Hammond.
I should have. I checked your...
Hey, I don't want to get out of line on this thing. I saw
You're
that
very
happen once
compliant. I
before.
checked your name off on my list and then said your name in my head.
Okay. Hey, I have a hard time with... we're not going there anyway. All right. Am I ready now?
Absolutely.
Okay. In reflecting on the first forum, it reminded me of the story of a young unmarried woman who came to her pastor and told him she thought she was sort of pregnant. The pastor reflected. He knew what pregnant meant, and he knew what not pregnant meant, but he didn't know what sort of pregnant meant. And it seems to me that when it comes to dissolving the college, we have some candidates like that young girl who don't want to maybe dissolve the college, but that they might. It seems to me this election is a clear choice of dissolving the college or not dissolving the college. And I basically vote not to dissolve the college. That does not mean I'm against other options. There's a whole list of other ways that we can accomplish senior level classes. There's a whole list of other ways we can add additional technical programs, but we don't need to kill the elephant in the room. In my opinion, and other candidates here can disagree, but the voters, you have a choice. You can vote for people who resolutely refuse to dissolve the college, or you can vote for those who seem to think that's an option. Thank you.
I think the merger issue is a red herring. It's being used over and over again for something that's not going to occur. I've said that I would not dissolve the school, and I would not. When you talk about merger, I think you're starting from a bad point. Because if you're talking about merger, you're already giving something away. I think we have to start differently, and we have to act differently. We have to come from a position of strength and efficiency. We need to make sure that everything we're doing is good, effective, and that when somebody else looks at us, they want to come and work with us. The issue is, We need to negotiate or work out programs that work for us, but not go through something called a merger where we start out in a weakened position. There are a lot of options that we can do. There are many things we can't control, but we can look at ourselves, make sure we're efficient, and be as strong as possible, and then do what we want for the community and the students.
The word merger is in this question because that is the word that was on Fort Hays' proposal. There is no question that it was used continuously. I've made my position very clear, and it's just 3 words: partnership, not merger. On the strengths of both, to make both of them stronger, as long as there is no agenda to destroy either base in the process.
Discussions have taken place on the negative impacts that DC3 would face if a merger were to happen. What are your opinions on these negatives listed below that have been discussed? Losing sports, veterans benefits, tuition rates, accessibility, program addition or loss, class addition or loss. And Mr. Thomas, you're up.
Yes, Marge, you're right. This is a really long question for 90 seconds.
I didn't write it.
Once again, all I can do is address a failed proposal from Fort Hays State that is no longer on the table. But in this proposal, it addressed all these issues, even though it was just a starting point. It said that we could keep sports. I am a huge believer in sports. I'm going to do nothing to get rid of sports. Do we need to know what our options are in case we have a chance to expand four-year education and technical education? Yes, we do. I've been fortunate to be around a source that understands the situation that could happen with sports if something were to come up to help us move on with four-year education and technical education. And my source was very honest. He told me there are many obstacles to overcome, such as finances, and all entities involved must agree, just to name a few. But there is a blueprint out of these states like Colorado and Nebraska that allow an institution under the umbrella of another institution to have sports equal to that level of that institution. So I would do everything I could to keep our junior college sports. I do think that's an option. But I also asked a simple question. I said, just for an example, it has nothing to do, there's nothing on the table. There's no conspiracy theories. Since Fort Hays State University would be an NCAA Division II school in the MIAA conference, if an institution came to Dodge City, could Dodge City possibly explore, besides the junior college, the option of NCAA Division II school in a different conference?
Mr. Malone, Danny, you're out of time. I know it's 90 seconds, I'm sorry.
The negative impact would be obvious. If you just go down the list here, they have losing sports, veterans benefits, tuition rates, accessibility, program additions, losses, and class addition losses. If the merger had gone through, and the only reason it didn't go through is that 3 trustees wanted it to go through, meaning they wanted the college to be dissolved and Fort Hays to take control of our college, and 3 trustees, that being Flores Jane Hampton, Dr. Joy, and Don Webb, voted against that. They preferred to send an agreement, a proposal to Fort Hays that said, let's be partners. Leave Dodge City College owned independently, operated independently. The Ford County people own it. They want to run it. They know how to run it. They do a good job, and we'll just partner up. Well, three of the other trustees wouldn't even send that to Fort Hays because one of them said it was basically an affront to Fort Hays. Everything, we would lose athletics, we would lose the helicopter program, which is projected to make over $1 million next year. Tuition rates would go to the rates of Fort Hays, which are $180 a year compared to our $70. So that's reason enough to vote for trustees who will keep this college our college.
Mr. Hammond.
I think this list is an excellent beginning of the negatives, but it's surely not all-inclusive. I think you can go down from losing the sports, and they were gone, folks. Veterans benefits, it's a disaster for the helicopter flight program, disaster for the veterans who benefit from that. Tuition rates, affordability is important in a community college. We need to think about the students whose parents aren't millionaires and aren't rich and aren't fancy folks, but just hardworking people trying to send their kids to school. Affordability is important. Accessibility, we're going to lose it if we went with that merger program. Program electives, folks, I was at Highland Community College, and we had what we thought was a pretty simple program, but we needed to partner with the Regent School. It took the Regent School 1 year to figure out which department needed to respond back to us to add a program. The Regents are so inflexible, it's unbelievable. Community colleges can meet local needs and meet them fast. Bad decision. I think that we need to keep Dodge City Community College independent. We can add partnerships. We can even add baccalaureate programs under the community college. We can add classes. We can do a lot of things. We don't need to dissolve Dodge City Community College, plain and simple.
I agree. We don't need to dissolve Dodge City Community College, but the merger is continuing to be a red herring. What we need to do is to look at what we can do internally to become more efficient and more effective. That's how we're going to deal with the challenges that we can't control. We don't know what the legislators are going to do. The federal government is looking at the helicopter program and thinking they're going to cut it out. Well, are we going to cry about that? What we should do is we should make sure that we're working as effectively as we can. The negative impacts of not working together are significant and are here. So let's work together between the community and the staff and the students and the faculty, not continue to fragment the community. As long as you're going to allow the community to be fragmented, you're not going to tap into the potential. I think we need to hang together, or else we certainly will hang separately.
I have to say I'm startled. I believe you have some news that none of our folks on campus have about helicopters. Interesting. Doesn't sound that way for us, nevertheless. I have a proven record of speaking out to protect Dodge City Community College. On sports, we heard in October. If we remain a community college, we remain NCAA and Jayhawk. If we're not community college, we don't have a place to play. Veterans benefits, helicopter and flight program with veterans tuition is the only one like it in the world. It's growing. We're in 5 locations in the United States. Our partners came to us and want to stay with us as a community college. Tuition rates will go up. All Regent schools are higher. We have no local control. Accessibility, no university can match affordability and accessibility of a community college. Program additions lost and class additions lost, those are unknowns because all decisions would be made by regents, not by trustees.
I'd like to start out, I'm absolutely not pregnant, despite whatever questions might have been alluded to. And I'm quite well aware of what I voted for in the past, and what I voted for was to support researching a possibility for this community and not turning my head to it and ignoring it. I think that's the biggest disservice we could possibly do. And unfortunately, in referring to my vote in regards to, which in case anybody didn't know, I'm one of those other 3 members that wasn't specifically named there. My vote didn't support the paper proposed about a partnership, not because I didn't want to seek out the partnership. I had made that very clear up until that point, but because I still don't know to this day who wrote that paper. Unfortunately, and I asked the question specifically, I still haven't got an answer from it. I asked it the day I received it before our meeting to discuss it. I still don't know who it is today. And I think I'd learned one thing up to that point in time is that I wasn't going to stand behind further unvetted ideas. We needed to come together and we needed to stop driving the wedge in this community. Unfortunately, I'm glad this is the last question, at least here, discussing this issue, because I think we need to quit beating the wedge down deeper. We need to step it back and we need to come together as a team. We're here for these students, and us dividing ourselves as a community is not doing them any favors at this time. I really ask you all, if you really have questions for me and where I've stood on issues, to please come and speak to me specifically. A lot of words have unfortunately been put in my mouth by the coalition and other people.
Okay, so we're about to transition into the second round of questions, and I've been asked to remind you that if you want to submit a question on a card, there are people dressed very nicely in the aisles, and they would be glad to take your cards. We won't obviously be able to get through all of your cards, but we're going to try to form from some questions, some overreaching questions that kind of address it. My students have also asked me to remind everybody that this is not a debate, and we know that there are many issues here, but we have not allowed the candidates the ability to kind of respond back and forth as a free for debate. So we're going to continue moving forward with our questions. So this is the first of the questions generated directly from students, and I believe they actually went to the student union during lunch and had students fill out questions and came up with these. So Mr. Malone, you're going to answer this question first. There's much concern for the athletics at Dodge City Community College with all the talk of expansion and merging. What will become of the sports and athletic programs at DC3?
Well, if there was a merger and Fort Hays got their way, then there would be no sports ever again, because there would be no Dodge City Community College. There would be, in place of that, a Fort Hays two-year college, and it would not be part of the NJCAA, and the NJCAA, according to Casey Malik, our athletic director, says you can't play if you're actually associated with a four-year institution. So it's not a red herring. If the balance of power on the Board of Trustees changes, then Fort Hays will be back with their proposal. And if it's a 4-2 vote, then the legislature will be cranking out statutes to get rid of our college. This is serious business, people. It's not just a matter of politics. We are talking about whether or not this college would continue in existence. And I blame Fort Hays for the way they handled this. They have fragmented our community college, because the first thing President Hammond went and saw Dr. Woodburn in a motel room in Topeka, Kansas, before this all came out, walked in and said, "I'm going to take your college." They mean it.
Mr. Hammond?
Would you read the question?
I will.
I want to make sure I want to get back to the...
There's much concern for the athletics at DC3 with all the talk of expansion and merging. What will become of the sports and athletic programs at DC3?
I believe if the merger had gone through, sports and athletics would be gone. I think the revenue for the dorms would be gone, because a lot of those are filled by athletes. I really believe there are other opportunities that we can use to add senior level classes, additional technical opportunities that will not dissolve athletics at Dodge City Community College.
I think that athletics are an essential part of college life. There are people that have previously tried to eliminate the intercollegiate athletic scholarships supported by taxpayers, and I think that you need to realize that when you're considering who you're voting for. We need to find out what the students need and what they want, what actual programs will work, and then do them. Again, we need to be together, and if we continue talking about separation and problems, we're not going to go forward. We're wasting so much energy and time, we're going to lose the creative opportunities. And I would say, let's look at ourselves. Things are gone that are gone, and let's move ahead positively, combining our resources.
The question uses the word merge. In athletics, we would no longer be NJCAA or Jayhawk Conference, and no university can have 2 football or 2 basketball teams, So it appears there would be no sports or athletic programs at Dodge City except intramural.
Athletics are imperative to this college and this community. Mrs. Hampton, was the first question she asked me when I interviewed for my position on the board to fill Mr. Bangerter's position. She said, how do I stand on athletics? I've continued to say the same thing since that time. I support athletics because the constituency supports athletics, and we need to. It's part of our college. It's part of a college experience, and it's part of a lot of the people that are sitting in this room, that whether they're athletes, they were athletes, they have families that are athletes, they're coaches, trainers, staff. It's imperative and not an option to get rid of. Never has been an option for me, and I've stood behind that statement throughout. I don't see, and I really hope that with the advances and the things that we're doing with Activity Center and the development of it, Mr. Malik specifically stated at one of the meetings when I asked, he said, this is no question, will this help our recruitment? I think this is a great opportunity, and I think we're on the forefront of taking a big step forward with our athletics here, and I hope we can continue to expand on that. I continue to stand behind the athletics program, and I will.
Athletics are very important to me. It got me through college. I was one of those kids once sitting out there. And some of the fear-mongering, and that's what it is fear-mongering that's going on around here, may not necessarily be true. If anybody wants to talk to me, I am open to talk about some of the other facts I have found, but there's not enough time here. But one thing I can tell you is that what I have learned is because of the leadership's approach toward the proposal, no one has the real answers. And unless we agree to go forward and look at any proposal that includes the Kansas Board of Regents, we won't have those answers. Despite some of the facts, mistakes of the past leadership, I can promise you I will be transparent. I'm not a politician, and take the time necessary, along with the administration and legal counsel, to do the due diligence necessary to evaluate such opportunities for our college and county to make sure it is beneficial and not detrimental to everyone involved. I will also work hard to bring business community and academic community together to bring the best proposal for expanded higher education that does protect sports and possibly give us the ability to do more with our sports program.
Okay. So we're going to start with Mr. Hammond on the second of the students' questions. The technical programs are a large part of DC3 education. What are your opinions on the future of the technical school at Dodge City Community College?
I'm basically in favor of technical programs. An awful lot of jobs today require a technical education, not necessarily a baccalaureate degree or a master's degree or a PhD. I think we need to offer. My experience in 14 years as a community college business officer is every time we get a new governor or a new legislator, they get all excited. We need career to work, we need technical education, and we're going to have some type. Thank you for reminding me about the mic, guys. You did well on that. We need to go forward with all these things. And they'll announce some big initiative. And what happens after the initiative's announced? Then they find out what it's going to cost. Right now, community colleges are being underfunded in tiered financing someplace between $20 and $30 million, which would affect the ability of community colleges to add technical programs. Our great governor came out with a great plan. We're going to give $1,000 to every student who gets through a technical program in the high school. You remember that one? It's in legislative committee now, and as of today, they think it's about $250, maybe, plus maybe a little money for the test. Within 2 years, it's already been cut by, what, 3/4? Folks, technical education needs to happen. The tough problem is most people aren't willing to pay for it. By the way, you can go to my website, www.hammond2015.com, and I have a list of all the technical programs and partnerships that Dodge City Community College has.
Our current technical programs are working and working very well. The welding, linemen's, nursing, the nursing program I know personally because of working in the medical field. The nurses are all called up, are all already signed up for jobs before they get done. I understand the same thing with the linemen and the welding. But we need to expand. We need to look for other opportunities. Why don't we work with the city and the county and do something for the fire training program? Build a tower. Do something different that other people haven't done yet. Let's think about things from that perspective. What can we do to work with the county and the city, the community, and come up with ideas so that we can grow the programs, improve the programs, not just worry about somebody else outside of our area doing something to us. Let's take care of our own future and take an active role.
The future for tech is bright because that is workforce other than professions. We need new equipment at our tech center, and unfortunately, we had just lost a $2 million grant because they weren't sure we were still going to be Dodge City Community College. They heard we might become Fort Hays. So they decided not to award that grant to Dodge City Community College for tech. It certainly would have made a difference in the equipment that is badly needed in our tech center.
We need to increase in opportunities, and we need to work closer together with what the needs are for our community, our state, our region, the people that we're most responsible for. I talk to countless people around the community who can't hire anyone. They can't find employees. They can't find employees to meet the goals that they need. And they're having to go and outsource. They're having to go other places to do it, and we can't let that happen. It has to happen for our community. We have to be able to expand the opportunities we can provide here. Floristine brings up a great point as far as updating our equipment and developing and expanding the facilities we have, and that's what we need to do. We need to find those resources, and this is not talking about a potential merger or anything else. We need to do it ourselves. We need to broaden those opportunities in whatever way we can. I don't see any reason for us waiting for someone else to write a grant for us to tag along with. We need to go write our own grants. We need to go out and seek out our own resources. We need to do our own partnership with industrial institutions. I have excellent experience with technical education. That's what a medical degree is. It just takes a lot longer and seems to cost a lot of money. But it is what I do. It is what training is, and that's what medical education is. And I know what everybody's going through, and I know what these future students need, and I see them every day in the office. We need to be here to support them, and losing any kind of technical education here would be a huge detriment to our community and would see a decline in our community because of it. It's what brings a lot of people here, and it's what we need to keep striving for. We've made excellent leaps and bounds with our partnerships with the lineman program, and I've personally helped teach some of the EMT classes, and I hope to continue to do so.
We have a wonderful technical program here, and we need to continue to let it grow. I agree with everybody else. It is vital for our local economy. In order for it to continue to grow, we have to keep growing our tech school, and we need to do whatever is necessary to continue to prepare our workforce for our local businesses. The only way our community will grow is to offer competitive workforce to our present industries, as well as showing we have the ability to train workers for new industry who want to be considered to locate in Ford County. One of the biggest problems we do have in Ford County, though, is there is not enough skilled workers to fill the jobs available. It's one of the main issues my clients have every day at the firm when I talk to them. So I agree with everything these people have had, and we've continued to need to be very progressive in this area, and we will be.
Mr. Malone.
I believe that the college has done a good job with its technical programs, but we need to do a lot better. A lot of the equipment is not what it should be. We might be doing well with welding and things of this nature, and I do believe that we need to focus first on this community to make sure that the jobs that we have available in this region that we are taking care of that type of technology and teaching those type of skills. And we need to do a better job. It's going to take money because vocational jobs training is very expensive. The helicopter program is kind of an oddity. Not many people fly helicopters in this area, but the fact of the matter is it was a a program that Anthony Lyon and Dr. Burke caught on to that has just grown through lots and lots of long hours by Anthony and has made this program extremely profitable. He has just got a new location in Camarillo, California. It looks like we're the only game in town, and I believe that the possibilities there are earning $2 or $3 million a year, which should help our other technical programs.
Okay, excuse me. So we're to question number 3 from the student section. And Mr. Dole, we'll be starting with you.
I think
I'm sorry, Jean, let me read the question first, sorry. In the area of student life on campus, many students have requested an on-campus swimming pool, an outdoor basketball court, and an outdoor sand volleyball pit. What are your opinions on spending money on these items?
I think the physical activities are very important in college life, and whether they're intramural, personal, or whether they're intercollegiate, it's something that we need to support. We need to actively support, not just put our words. We have to spend money and do things. I like the idea. I'd like to see some overall plan and sit down with the students and try to figure out what other things we could do to improve it, because along with these 3 things, there may be 4 or 5 others that we could do, and if we piggybacked on them and paid attention to the long plan, we might come up with some real exciting opportunities. I would fully support it.
Well, I was kind of surprised when I saw this question because we did have basketball goals before the new parking lot was built. And I guess my question is, I wondered why they weren't replaced somewhere and still could be. So I hope they will be. And as far as the sand volleyball, of all the acres we have on campus, we could have several sand volleyball courts. I don't know that we need them, but anyway, as to the swimming pool, that question, as far as I'm concerned, has never come up since I've been on the board. There are community colleges who have pools, Liberal being one, which hosts regional meets and is a possibility, but it is, of course, an expense that would have to be considered. And who knows, maybe we could even partner with USD. So all those things are possibilities that could be considered.
I think this question was one of the most enlightening of all of them when I received these a couple weeks ago. Something that looks really so simple at face value, but this is what's important to the students. This is what was concerning to them. Nowhere in my year and a half on the board have I had any mention of this, and I wish we would have. We fret and worry about every $100,000s and millions of dollars we're spending here and there, and I'm pretty sure we could put a basketball court in and a volleyball court for probably a little less than that. I think we can work together with the students to meet a lot of these goals and meet them reasonably. You know, as far as the pool, that one's going to take a little bit more. We might have to have a car wash or two, but I really do think that there is opportunities there and that we can come together and work towards those. Again, it's one of the difficult parts of being on the trustees is the students want a swimming pool. I'd love to give them one, but I got to make sure the taxpayers are happy about paying for it too. So we got to find the middle ground, but it can be done. And back to the earlier question, what can we do to involve the students more? I don't want to wait until the next, a couple more years until the next board election before we find out the next things that they were wanting and they're interested in. That's the most important thing, is we need to reach out to those students and let them have their area for feedback and be able to provide this to us.
This is one of the reasons I'm here. This is what the students want. We need to find a way to get it for them. The basketball courts and the sand volleyball will be very simple. Like I said, the swimming pool is a little more complex. We have to be responsible to the taxpayers in order to fund something like that. But this is just, from my feeling, this is just a small part of what the students are telling us. I have a feeling there's a lot of things out there the students have on a wish list. And from listening to the trustees tonight, they haven't really had a voice at the table for a long time. And this is what's good about this forum, if nothing else tonight, is it's going to maybe get the students back at the table, no matter what happens in the election, so that we can see what they want and get back to doing what's best for the students.
I believe that this is kind of goes back to the other question about student life and the quality of life. This kind of dovetails into that. Obviously, some of these projects would not be very expensive. And as I've stated before, with the students paying $1 million in fees, they should be able to direct their fees to some of these projects that they would like to be built. We would not need an increase in taxes if the student used their fees for these purposes. So, and obviously, these are benefits that the entire community, like a swimming pool, should all be involved in, because the entire community could use it. So the county, the city, and others, perhaps a casino could kick in some money. But those are the type of partnerships we should be looking for. Swimming pools are great for everyone all through their life, and so I think it'd be a great addition, because the one that's over at the Y is just too small for this community.
Mr. Hammond?
I don't understand candidly why the basketball court hasn't been replaced, and I don't understand why the volleyball court hasn't taken place. I just remember when I was at Highland Community College, they decided they wanted to have a mud volleyball court one time. I have never I will never do that one again, ladies and gentlemen. We responded to student needs. Or sometimes you have to draw a line someplace. We had mud everywhere. But these two things, those are doable. Let's get them done.
Okay, so we're now going to move to, I have two questions on my handy dandy little card, so nobody knows these questions except a few of us. So Mrs. Hampton, you're going to start on this question. Are you for or against Obama's plan to make community college free? Are you for or against President Obama's plan to make community college free? And you're first. That's okay.
That has caused so much interest when it first came out that I thought maybe everybody had a decision they'd already made. That brings up the point that we would no longer have K-12, we would have K-14, because the first 2 years of college would also be provided, but that is only tuition, you understand, and also 2.5 if I remember right, so it isn't just for everybody. Anyway, it's an interesting concept. I suspect economically it won't go anywhere, but then who knows, never can guess all the congressional doings. But it does put community colleges in the forefront, and it certainly is worth talking about, because it would be one way to help the expense that has burdened some of our college students, and it would also get more students into school. So there can be a lot of answers for that question, and none of them probably right. So it's interesting. I have that to say.
I would agree. Interesting is a good way to put it, Flourishing. I don't know if we're paying the president that well. He's going to be able to foot the bill for all this. So I think it'll be interesting to see where the funding is going to come for that and how that may play out. Who would stand in the way of free college education? I don't think anybody would. What can we realistically expect? I don't know that I can anticipate that coming down right away. But I think one of the gentlemen mentioned a little bit ago about promises made by some of the bigger politicians, and then their minds change when the dollars actually come out. That might be one of those situations. But I think the most important thing here is how can we continue to provide the most affordable education for our students, the Ford County students, the Dodge City High School students, and then the region, and then the state, in that order. we need to continue to strive to provide the most affordable education we can for them. And if something comes down from the federal government, then we'll hopefully be benefactors of that as well. But I think we need to continue to expand the opportunities we offer here at this community. And with the technical education, I have my concerns that that may not get lumped into the free community college, and if it doesn't, we need to still be competitive at that level and maintain the programs that we have and be able to support that going into the future.
There's one thing I've learned dealing in the financial world for 20 years, that when Washington, D.C. tells you something's free, it's not free. Fortunately, I don't think there's much traction on this in Washington, D.C., so I'm afraid it's a non-starter. I do believe in trying to find any way for any child to go to, any student to go to college that they can. That's our job, and there's plenty of ways out there to help students go to school. I just have a hard time with this one. I know nothing's free. It's going to be paid for somewhere. I think there's lots of programs out there to help students go to college, and we need to keep trying to find more. But anytime the word free is involved, it's not free, folks, believe me.
That is a tough question, but if we look back to World War II, the GI Bill was probably the greatest economic development idea in the history of the United States. We allowed, or it permitted our veterans who were coming back from the war and who spent time to actually get an education, which would increase their the type of jobs they could get. And as a result of that, we had a tremendous increased standard of living during the 50s and 60s. When they got better jobs, they paid more taxes, and I can't remember, I heard it on NPR one night about the how many times the GI Bill was paid over and over and over and over again in better jobs and increased property valuation, income tax, things of this nature. So I would like to see our Ford County residents have a chance at even lower tuition, because they are the ones, we are the owners, and we are the ones that pay out the taxes. All colleges need to get together, the 18 counties. We have 87 counties that aren't paying anything, and I think that we ought to get in partnership with each other and require the out-county students to pay higher tuition to help us.
Mr. Hammond.
I think we're on a sad trajectory in our country today. And the trajectory is that education's costing more and more. Students are coming out of college with more and more debt. And you know, it might be one thing if you're coming in a field that's going to pay a significantly, maybe a six-figure salary right out of college, and there are fields that do that. But if you're coming out of college to be a social worker or an elementary ed teacher, you know, to have massive debt, and probably you need to replace that junker that you went through college with a car that gives you really reliable transportation, and you need a place to live, it's pretty tough. And I think this is a public policy issue that really ought to be discussed seriously. So whether it's the Obama program that starts it or something else, it is a national concern. And when you look at the unpaid student loans, it's a tremendous problem. What we have to do here, and I think it's been mentioned by some other candidates, we have to do the very best we can to keep our college affordable as possible for the residents of Ford County and our students. We need to at least maybe get them through that first couple of years without having a massive amount of debt, and that would be my goal.
I think that the proposal recognizes, demonstrates that people are now recognizing the value of community college education. And that's a real positive thing to get from this. The likelihood of this going, I think, is very low, if not zero. But it's nice to see that people are recognizing the values of community college and the effort people put out. I think we can spend our energy improving our efficiency. I go back to this, making sure that we're working well with the community, spending our time and energy there, because we're not going to get something from the government for free.
Okay. This last question, Dr. Presley, we're going to start with you, and it's a little long. How will you support, if elected, the college to continue making classes more available to students with families, personal obligations, and full-time jobs? How will you support, if elected, the college to continue making classes more available to students with families, personal obligations, and full-time jobs? Dr. Presley?
I think this is a great question, and I alluded to this earlier. I think this has got to be one of our first goals as we progress, and first goals with the new president as we find that soul to fill the position. We need to find out how we can reach out. We need to be able to reach out to the students from the high school level that can come over at varying times of the day that have a limited schedule, and all of the other people mentioned in that question: family, full-time jobs, employment opportunities. I know online education is a big factor, and the Dodge City Community College has tried to push that with options that we have to offer. Expansion of that's good, but I think as been known, and we've learned through the process through the last year or two, face-to-face education is very important, and we need to figure out how we can better offer that. It's going to take working with the faculty and working with the staff and finding out how we can make things work for them to allow the class offerings at different times of the day. We have a very diverse schedule in this community, and I think adapting to that's imperative for us to help those working shift work get the education that they need to move on to the next level or wherever they feel they need to go. Great question and an excellent point, and one that I wish to take forward and have tried to bring up and will continue to. Like I said, I think it's got to be one of the areas of focus for our new president to offer these.
It is a very good question, and I think it's going to be solved by the biggest job that this board will have when they're elected, and that's finding the next president. We need to find a president who has the qualifications to understand this, help with the flexibility of the staff, because online education is one, but as Jeremy said, face-to-face education is the best education you can have. So hopefully with the new president, he can get with the staff, get a little more flexibility, figure out what works with our community and our shift workers. And once again, like getting more involved with the students to find out what they want, we need to continue to get more involved with the community leaders and the businesses to see how we can help in their situation.
Mr. Malone?
I think that's a question that is certainly a good policy question, and what I've learned over the years and going through conference leadership programs over the last 16 years is that any time we come up with that type of a question, we should determine what type of good is going to be done for how many people and at what cost. So those are things that have to be taken into consideration. I think obviously accessibility to people in today's world, it's completely different than it was 40 years ago, and we've got to stay up and catch up. I think that this is a good thing. We should tell the new president that is going to be appointed to this is our policy. We want more accessibility, and figure out how we're going to do it, and if we have the funds, we'll certainly get it done, or at least part of it done. Thank you.
Mr. Hammond?
A couple things on this. One, I would like to see our adult basic education program more of an open entry, open exit program. A lot of folks who need that kind of training don't necessarily need it to start at the beginning of a semester. Their lives may need that to start at a different time. A lot of other colleges do that. I think we ought at least ought to look at that. The second thing that concerns me, with a wife who does teach at the community college level, we're also aware that some of the rapid courses that people have come up with, where we try to condense classes down just to a few weeks, don't necessarily always guarantee the best results in educational opportunity for our students. So we need to be aware of that also. It not only needs to meet the accessibility and those kind of concerns, but also the educational needs of our students, so we're turning out quality product at the other end. So it's a tough one, something we can sure look at, but there's not going to be an easy answer to it.
If elected trustee, I would push very hard for the new president to understand that that's a directive that he has, and then to follow through on finding out whether he or she is actually doing what they've been directed to do. We would need to listen to the community, the students, and the faculty, find out what problems there are, what things are working, and what people find valuable in what we're doing now. The next step would then to be try new ideas, stick our necks out, go ahead and make mistakes. Doesn't matter that we make mistakes. What matters is that we evaluate it and move on from there. I think that what we do is try things, see what the students, the faculty, and the staff think of it. If it's meeting the needs, great. If it's not, tweak it or get rid of it. But don't let it just hang around. Again, develop a system where we can be efficient, we can try things. Because if we win 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 times, that's a great record. But it's a matter of, as a trustee, giving the direction to the president and then holding him accountable for it.
This certainly is a subject that fits community colleges because community colleges are much more flexible. They're certainly much more accessible to people who are not on a structured schedule. And it's possible that there could be a way to work with those folks. And I have an admiration for teachers, many of whom go out of their way to make it possible for some of those students to complete a course that could not have done it without that extra help. So kudos to the teachers who are available for the students who need that extra help. I know some of the tech classes have been successful in allowing credit for life experience when that is a part of the career that they're working for. So there are a lot of different innovations that might be involved in this subject, and I think it should be explored.
So that concludes the question portion of our program tonight. We're going to have closing statements here in a moment. You'll be each allotted 1 minute, and closing statements will start down at with Mr. Thomas. Real quick before we go there though, just one really business thing. The roster will be down here in front for y'all to sign in on, those of you that came from my class. So
That was half the audience, wasn't it?
I hoped for more, but they came. So the ones that did, I'm glad you're here. Also, I just wanted to take, this is a personal thing for me. I get to go to a lot of these forums, and I'm always really grateful for people who run for office. To put yourself out there is not an easy thing, and to sign up and say, yeah, I'll do it, I'm always really, really impressed. So I just want to thank you all for taking the effort to run for election in our county, and as a person who will benefit from your leadership, it's a really highly paid position, so I know that you'll all really enjoy it a great deal. So we're now going to have closing remarks from each of the candidates. We're going to start down with Danny and then loop around. I'm actually going to sit down and just listen to y'all, so I won't be calling your names out. So if you can all proceed in good order, you'll have 1 minute, and the gentleman will remind you, and if I have to, I'm going to come over and whack you on the head to make you stop at the end of the time.
First of all, I want to thank the Student Government Association and Marge. If elected to the Board of Trustees, I will have clear goals. I want to bring a more transparent board to the community on revenues and expenditures. I want leadership that serves the community through unity and cooperation. I want to unite the business community and the academic community so that this great institution can move forward. As I have stated many times, and I'm not going to back down, if we are fortunate enough to get another proposal that has the backing of the Kansas Board of Regents, I will vote to move forward and explore it. What I have read in some of the old proposal, and with the little due diligence that I have done, it appears to me there's opportunity to bring a unique combination of 2-year, 4-year, and technical education to our community with all sorts of new possibilities for athletics. And then this is a combination that, in my view, is nothing but positive for the students, faculty, and residents of Ford County. Yes, there will be potholes, big and small, on this new road to positive change, but with the unity and positive leadership of every sector of this community working together, we can fix these potholes and not put up roadblocks to change the community in a way that I don't think any of us can imagine.
First of all, thank you, all of you, for coming out tonight. We certainly appreciate having the people care about what we say. I want to say that Dodge City Community College is important to me, and it's vital to the people of Ford County. Education is the key to everything, and what we can do to provide affordable education to all of our residents here in this county, that's the mission, and that was the purpose of the college. Education is important to me. My mother only had an 8th grade education because she had 10 brothers and sisters that she was asked to stay home and take care of. Nevertheless, she knew how important it was and pounded in my sisters and my brother's head about get an education. That's why we need to keep Dodge City here, we need to keep it local, and we need to keep it affordable. Thank you.
I basically believe Dodge City Community College can survive, not be dissolved, and add other opportunities to it. And that's the deciding point in this election. If you want to dissolve Dodge City Community College on maybe a possibility of something, all I can say is in the 14 years I served in the community college world and about the 10 years I've served in K-12 education, you will not trust the legislatures and you will not trust governors because they don't keep their promises. And that's the track record. If you trust your community college with them, you're on pretty shaky ground. Hey, thanks for coming, folks.
I want to thank the student government for holding this forum, the candidates, and for you, to you for attending. My youngest son is a videographer. He earned a technical degree and has an associate's degree, and he's using that and has a great job. I've seen it work. I'm very well aware that this is how a large portion of the population is trained, educated, and has viable jobs. The communities and the students need to be more included in Dodge City Community College. I think that's something that I've learned from the questions that were presented here. Everybody needs to work as a team. That is the faculty, the students, the staff, the community. Everybody needs to work together and work on things that we can control, not cry over spilled milk. Make constructive choices to move forward, not be afraid and waste time and energy. I'd invite you to visit my webpage, electgenedole.com, and read and hear what I believe. Don't listen to what others say that I do. That's not the way to do it. Vote for me.
Thank you again for sponsoring this forum, and thank you all who came. This is my position. Dodge City Community College will remain intact with accreditation and all programs in place under local control. Ford County will not become the only county whose taxpayers are the major financial support of a state institution. We will promote partnerships with Fort Hays and/or other universities for baccalaureate degrees and to build a tech center after a current validated feasibility study is in place, which is according to Regent's policy. And to go far above, we must go together. That comes from KU, but I wish we could adopt it. I ask for your vote April 7.
I want to thank the Student Government Association, Marge, and the faculty, the staff, Dodge City, and the community, most importantly for offering this opportunity and allowing us to come up and speak. I want to apologize for my digression earlier on the question. It's not what I came up here to do. I don't apologize for my passion. I apologize to my wife, my parents, my 3 kids who are at home. I'm passionate about this college and this community. That's why I stand up here to defend myself, to not be put down, and to stand behind this college. I didn't come back to Dodge City for the beaches and the palm trees. I came back because I care about it. I hope that you all understand that, and I hope that you understand that that's where I stand with my position on the board currently, and I will until my term is done, whether it's this June or down the road. I am passionate for Dodge City. I am passionate for Dodge City Community College. That's why I apologize for my digression, why I asked for your forgiveness. And in the words of my 4-year-old Tate, vote for my dad so I got a college.
That was wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to give a big thank you to all the students who are in attendance. It shows that you care not only about your education, but also about the direction of your future alma mater. I want to give a thank you to all faculty and staff for your support and for promoting the forum on campus. Thank you to the candidates again for making yourselves available for our forum. Thank you to all the members of the community for joining us this evening also. I want to give a special thank you to Dean Lanning and Cliff Burdick, our SGA advisor, for leading the way and actively assisting the student government in putting the forum together. I hope that you guys all enjoyed our forum, and please remember to exercise your right to vote on April 7th. Thank you.